This weather is awesome. Super dry, little chilly still, but dry enough to where I'm gonna do some work around the furnace. And while I'm out here, I'm just gonna show you what I do about once a week. You have to empty the ash. This is the ash bin down here. And this is the firebox. You know, it does have like a waft of smoke, and I read that wood smoke isn't good for you. I do my best to stay out of it, let the wind carry it away. And it eventually thins out. And then I can look inside. I keep a wooden poking stick. So this is the firebox here. It's a little low. I'll go ahead and throw in some couple logs just to get us through the day. Okay, that'll be good. But the bottom line is I need to get this ash out of here. What I have learned over the years is you can play games with your ash to help you with your furnace. On warmer days, I think it pays to keep your ash level up. It helps with the fire not going out because it's not burning as much, because your house doesn't need as much heat. But I'll just shovel out a couple buckets full. And since we live out here in acreage, I just go out and dump it in the yard. And then when I'm done, I try to clean up all of the coals laying on the ground. No need to start a little fire if you can prevent it. And then I try to push the coals away from the door, just so that it stays away from the gasket in the door. And that's it for the ash removal, guys. And then I'll go dump this. While I've done some videos on free heat with my outdoor wood furnace, there's still a lot of work that goes with it. The days of just turning the thermostat a little bit, sliding it, are over. But you do have to work. It's a lot of work. It's every day, multiple times a day. But the end results, no gas bill, and our house is as warm as we want to keep it. This is not a pressurized boiler. This is a cooling stack, so we do get some water loss. And part of my duties is to check the water level, because I have to keep adding water throughout the season. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show you though, but it is a little low, so I'm gonna add water to it. And there is a valve up here in the control panel that I turn, and then that starts to fill the tank up with water just so that it's topped off. And I can see it at the top, but I've been doing this long enough, I can just tell by the way it sounds when the water level's full. It is filling right now, and there's the water level. You can hear the water coming in. It fills from the top. I can just tell when it's full. There's like a line, you know, where the water sits in here. I think it's good, but I can tell by my ear when it's full. This fills from the top, and I can hear the water pouring in and plopping into the tank. And once it's full, I know that I can shut this valve off. I'll fill this up with water probably twice a week, and I'll just run it for about a minute, and then I just turn the valve off. This is an automatic system, but my float, there's a float in here which turns on this solenoid, which makes it fill automatically. But mine, I need to replace it, and I came out here one day and it was just flooded this whole area because it never shut off. And so now I just trust myself to just keep water in it myself. So we are full. I'll turn off the water and we'll close the control panel, and I'll put the cooling stack back in. So my task with the furnace for half of today is done. I have another thing that I want to do. As I've gotten into my wood pile this winter, I'm running into a number of stubborn logs that just don't fit right. And I thought, since the ground is so firm, I'm going to get out my super splitter, and I'm just going to split some of these logs that are just laying right here. The other thing, like these offcuts, they just don't lay right when they're around, and I'm going to split all of these in half. I just think that they'll lay into the furnace a lot better. One thing that I've learned with this furnace is that if you just throw the logs in without a plan, that can wind up putting your fire out, usually at 3 o'clock in the morning in the middle of a blizzard. It's just the way that things in there lay. So over time, you just get a sense on how the best way to fill this up with the wood. And I've learned like these short round ones kind of cause trouble down the way. So I'm just going to split all these in half, and I'm going to get out my super splitter, and you guys can hang out with me while I split me up a mess of boiler wood. Okay, this of course needs no introduction. This is my super splitter, made in Boston, Massachusetts. I have always said, if anything has put me to where I am now at Ohio Wood Burner, it is this machine right here. Just super productive. At one time, this machine has touched every single piece of firewood that this yard had ever produced. It's got me to where I am now. I've always said, if you are starting off on a firewood journey, if you're trying to build a business out of scratch, I think your first money that you spend is on a super splitter or something like it. These kinetic splitters are for real. Very affordable, very productive. But for me right now, you're going to see just how tough these are. They can split all of these ugly logs in here, be very efficient with it. And let's get this thing fired up and let's go. This is a kinetic splitter. It's got two 75-pound flywheels, and a rack and pinion, and a 2-second cycle time. When you get used to the way that these things work, you can just knock out a quart of firewood in no time. There are a couple things to pay attention to. The bearings, like this top bearing, can be a problem. I keep a can of spray lube and just keep it lubricated. And then there's some bearings underneath that you try to keep lubricated. Every splitter's got its strengths and weaknesses. The one thing I've learned with your kinetic splitters is that they're a fair weathered machine. I don't like using them in rain or snow or when the wood has ice on it. It just seems to gum things up. But for today, it's gorgeous out. I'm just going to knock out some of these bigger rounds. You can see what this super splitter can do. There we go. split in half, this is a nice log to burn. It has the power to split through these knots. This is elm. It's pretty rotten. It's laid around for a long time. I think it'll go now though. All right. I am taking advantage of this dry weather. There's going to be snow coming, and then all of this area gets shut down. This is my second splitter, guys. My first one was probably what everyone else gets for their first splitter, that big box I-beam 14-second cycle time. Oh, wake me up when it is done. The super splitter is dynamite. It'll split anything that you can put up here. Yeah, you got to mess with some of the logs, but anything that you can lift up here, it's going to split. And that's why I had to get away from the super splitter, because the way I make firewood, all of the logs that I needed split, they were too big for me to pick up. So a commercial grade splitter for me made a lot of sense. But I'm telling you guys, the super splitter, very versatile, powerful. And the other thing too that you can't look past is you don't have to run these at wide open throttle. I keep these at pretty low RPM and it splits just fine. So there you go, guys. Just another day here making firewood, keeping the house warm with the outdoor wood furnace, and taking advantage of a break in the weather to get my wood pile shored up for the coming months. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and everyone have a great day.